Right now, as you're driving or listening or wherever you are, and you think about all the people in your life you have any conflict with, all of them, all right? If it's your mother about something that happened when you were 2, if it's your neighbor, if it's your boyfriend or your wife or anybody, just kind of list them in your mind from the people that you hate the most, that you have the most trouble with, down to the ones who just annoy you. And you find out who all these people are, and you send them all love. All right? See, it's easy to send love to the people who smell good. It's easy to send love to the people who do the things you're supposed to do and who are nice to you. All right? That's not a test of love. When Christ was on the cross and someone threw a spear into his rib, his reaction was, forgive them. You know, they don't know what they're doing. Forgive them. You take and you do that, and you send that out. And every time you get hate in your life or anything, you practice sending out love to that person. Even if it's somebody who's being nasty to you on an airplane or somebody at a bakery who's stepping ahead of you or whatever. And you practice letting people in on the freeway and getting the hate out, the anguish out, the wanting to get ahead of somebody else, the wanting to prove you're better than somebody else. And you make that a way of life, okay? So that means you're filled up with love and you're giving love away. Then love starts coming back into your life and you become free, because it's like that hate that you harbor inside of you is a poison that's worse than a cancer, and it's worse than any alcohol. It never goes away. It just continues to eat at you. And until you are able to do that, you can't experience no-limit living or self-actualization or whatever you want to call it. I have to do this in my own life. I do it all the time. I had someone who was suing me, and they wanted to just take advantage of the position that I'm in life and to make some money off of it. And for 2 years, even as recently as 3 or 4 years ago, I was still mad about that and mad at this person. How could they do that? And who was this attorney that took this case? And how dare they? And I fought it and all of that. And all I got out of it was being right, a big legal bill, and months of anguish and pain. Then when I took this person and I began to send this person love and say that this is just what they want to do. See, that's the test. That's to see what you're made out of. There's a blessing in there. Try to find the blessing in that pain and stop telling yourself that it shouldn't be happening. It is. And I started doing that, and in a month's time, the lawsuit was dropped. I started being much more productive. My writing improved. My complexion improved. I began to feel better as a human being. I could walk down the beach, and my secretary said, you have a lilt almost to you. It's like you're almost walking on air, when all of that stuff was finally sent away. I have people who owe me money who haven't paid it back over the years. And you think about that, and you start getting really mad. How dare this person? I lent them money, and that's stealing, and they're taking my money, and they said they would. I send them copies of my books now. And I've dropped the loan. I've forgotten about them. I don't need the money. I don't believe in not paying your bills back. I pay them as soon as they come in. But some people are in a place where that's where they have to be still. I don't want to be owned by their behavior. If I'm upset because they refuse to pay money back to me, their refusal to pay money back to me is the source of my upset. I'm allowing somebody else's behavior, which is anathema to me, to control my life at this moment. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. How can I stop from doing that? Only one way: forgiveness. You got to forgive it. You got to let it go. You don't have to forget. You just have to let it go. You don't have to call them up and tell them. You don't have to send them flowers or books if that's not what you want to do. You have to let it go. And when you let it go, that's called non-attachment. You are no longer attached to it. And when you're not attached to it, then you're free to be the creative genius that you are. And until you do that, you have to do that with everyone in your life. That's a principle that works so magnificently. I'll give you another good example. I had dinner Friday night with a man who was going through a horrible divorce. Horrible divorce. He's an attorney, and his wife wants half of his loss practice, and she wants the children, and she wants all of his money, and apparently she had an affair, and then he found out, and they had this beautiful marriage, and now they're just going through all this hatred. And you could see the tears in his eyes. You could see the anguish in him. You could see that he had aged. This had been going on for 3 or 4 months. He had aged 10 years in 3 or 4 months, full of pain. And he wanted to spend the whole night telling me how right he was and how wrong she was. And he kept telling me that she had no right to do this, and how dare she treat me this way. And you know that she even left letters there, and she was seeing him, and she actually brought this man over to my own home. And he said, so what do you think? I said, you need to be right, don't you? And he said, well, I don't need to be right. What do you think of that? I mean, does she have a right to do any of that? I said, yes. What do you mean, yes? I said, she did it. You can't undo what she's done. Well, he said, what do you think I should do? Do you think? I said, I think you should forgive her. He said, I already did that. I already told her that and she didn't. I said, no, I don't have to tell her anything to forgive her. I think you should just let it go. What are you defending? You look 10 years older than you did 4 months ago. You're so racked with pain that you can hardly get up in the morning and your practice is all going to hell. You are depressed. Your blood pressure is going up. You're not eating. You're losing weight much too quickly. And you're suffering. And you're suffering because you're not willing to forgive her. And I said, it has nothing to do with her. I said, this is your test. And I wish I could get inside your head and let you know that until you are willing to send her love for having behaved in a way that you find so horrendous, that until you're able to do that, I said, eventually you'll do it, because otherwise you won't survive. The organism cannot survive. Obviously, you're killing yourself right now. It's just a slower process. It's going to take a little while. And until you stop killing yourself, that sooner or later you're going to have to do it, so why not choose sooner and just forgive her? You don't have to remarry her. And he said, well, what about the money and all that? I said, how much does she want? And he listed it. I said, give her that and a little more. He said, what? She wants? I said, just give her more. You'll get it back. You will. It'll come back to you. Give her more. Well, and I said, and pay it in advance. Give her the money in advance. Let her know that you are not interested in being married, if that's what it is, and that's fine, but that you're not going to carry this around. And practice it, and practice it. And you will find a serenity and a beauty and a peace in your life that you never thought could be there before. You never believed that it could be there. And it's right there. It's right there for you. All you have to do is forgive. All you have to do is understand that she's a human being and she made a mistake. You haven't. You haven't made a mistake because she got caught and you haven't, or whatever. It's like, let all of that go. And you will find so much enrichment in your life, because now you won't be using up your present moments to convince yourself how right you are. It won't be important anymore. Being right is not necessary any longer. Just being happy is. And one of the great secrets of the universe is that there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. You must carry that around inside of you.